Some crazy Mortal Kombat 1 drama is happening right now just in time for Final Kombat. Did the Mortal Kombat 1 developers buff Cyrax because of Sonicfox? Many players on social media do seem to think so, but is that actually what happened? Today we're going to talk about it, because it's some very interesting drama to be sure. If a major fighting game studio like Nether Realm actually did make balance changes just to please a pro player, then that would definitely be a big deal. But once again, is that actually what happened? Today, let's analyze all parts of this situation to find out what really occurred. First off, some background knowledge on Sonicfox for anyone who might be new to fighting games. Sonicfox is arguably the most popular pro player at Mortal Kombat, but keep in mind he plays other games too, but the NetherRealm games are what he's known for. And that's because he used to win 90% of the tournaments he entered. This guy was unkillable. Now, in more recent tournaments, he doesn't win all the time anymore, but he does still win fairly often. So now that you understand who Sonicfox is, let's talk a little bit about the drama. Like most internet drama, this all starts on Twitter, because Sonicfox was pretty vocal about wanting the old Cyrax back. Or in other words, he wants the nerfs to be reverted or just rolled back a little bit so that Cyrax is stronger overall as a cameo character. And then soon afterwards, that's exactly what happened in a recent update for Mortal Kombat 1. Cyrax got buffed and is essentially as good as he was when the game first came out. And just in case anybody watching did not play Mortal Kombat 1 back then, Cyrax was an unstoppable force of nature. It was actually a meme online how good Cyrax was. Pretty much everybody had this guy on their team, especially at high level and at tournaments, because he made everything safe on block. He was great for combos, he was great for pressure, great for mix-ups, all that crazy stuff. And of course that's a bit too ridiculous, so NetherRealm nerfed Cyrax, and Sonicfox has been saying, I wish that Cyrax would come back, and then this happened. Against all odds, Cyrax somehow did get buffed in a recent update, and this has led many people online to assume that NetherRealm rebalanced this game on Sonicfox's behalf. So like I mentioned earlier, let's look at all the information to see if that's actually the case. I'm going to list all the evidence that supports this theory and also all the evidence that goes against this theory. Number 1, the timing. The fact that Cyrax got buffed so soon after Sonicfox was asking for it does make things look really sketchy and suspicious. However, it's worth noting that Sonicfox has been asking for these buffs for months. It's not just that one recent tweet that everyone's talking about. So I do think that's important to keep in mind. It was not just one tweet and then boom, Cyrax gets buffed. That's not the order of events, that's not how the timeline played out. But even so, I do understand why some people think the timing is suspicious. If this whole thing does turn out to be a conspiracy theory, the timing is not doing Sonicfox any favors. Number 2, the lack of demand. Aside from Sonicfox, I can't think of too many people who wanted Cyrax to be buffed, especially not at the casual level. And keep in mind, when I say casual, I don't mean bad. I simply mean any player who is not competing at the tournament level. That's the audience that I tend to follow, and I did not hear anybody saying that Cyrax should be buffed. Instead, pretty much everybody was happy that he was not a number 1 cameo character anymore. Because keep in mind, when Cyrax got nerfed, it allowed the other cameo characters to shine, and therefore added more variety to the gameplay of Mortal Kombat 1 overall. For example, certain characters like Kano became way more popular after Cyrax was nerfed. But now that Cyrax is buffed again, everyone's gonna go back to using him, and the other cameo characters aren't going to get used anymore. And that's why most casual players hate this change, but keep in mind, I don't follow the professional scene that much, so it could be possible that other pros were asking for Cyrax buffs, but I'm just saying I personally have never seen that. Number 3, Sonicfox has used Cyrax in the past. In fact, he won a big tournament by using Cyrax and Rain. Or in other words, when Cyrax gets buffed, this could directly help Sonicfox perform better at tournaments, because he is familiar with this team and has used them in the past at a competitive level. Which, once again, is why some players do think that NetherRealm made this change for Sonicfox. He has a history of using these characters on his team. Cyrax was one of his go-to cameos. However, in saying that, keep in mind that most pro players were using Cyrax back in the day when he was strong, because once again, he's a top 1 cameo. He was the best in the game, and nobody would argue that. Okay, so that's all the evidence supporting the theory, so next up, let's talk about the evidence that goes against this theory. Number 1, Cyrax was not the only character affected in the update. For example, Reptile also got some nerfs, and characters like Homelander have bizarre glitches added to their gameplay. So if this change to Cyrax was done purely for Sonicfox, then why did other characters get affected? Especially Reptile. Nobody was asking for this character to get nerfed, and as I'm recording this video, NetherRealm went on the record and said these changes were accidental and not intended. Or in other words, the Cyrax change is likely to get reverted. He's not going to be this strong anymore, the buff was unintentional. And I think the same could be true for Reptile as well. Those nerfs were not meant to happen. person. Or to put things a different way, this entire update had a lot of oopsies in it, okay? A lot of mistakes. Number 2, Sonicfox has not been using Cyrax for months, especially when competing at tournaments. Instead, his main team is Sindel and Kung Lao, and Sonicfox has been doing really well with this team. He's won many tournaments with this duo. So it goes without saying that Sonicfox has the most practice with this team, and as a result, buffing Cyrax would not really benefit him that much in the long run, especially not at tournaments. Because keep in mind, it's not just your mastery of the character that matters, especially at high level. It's also matchup experience with that character, and so many changes have happened since Cyrax was nerfed, and as a result, even if the character gets buffed, there's still so many new matchups and situations to learn, and nobody wants to do that right before a big tournament. So even though it is true that Cyrax is used in Sonicfox's other team matchups like Johnny Cage and Rain, the honest truth is that this buff to Cyrax helps his opponents as well as him. Because don't forget, 2 of Sonicfox's biggest rivals in the Mortal Kombat 1 scene also use Cyrax on their team, and in fact, they've won multiple tournaments while using Cyrax. So while you could argue that buffing Cyrax helps Sonicfox, you could also argue that works against him because many other players also get stronger with this Cyrax buff. It helps them too. But as mentioned earlier, Sonicfox has been very vocal about not using Cyrax at Final Kombat because he's just out of practice and has way more experience with Sindel and Kung Lao and some other pairings in his back pocket, I'm sure. Number 3, NetherRealm is rolling back these changes to Cyrax anyway. As mentioned earlier, NetherRealm has openly stated on Twitter that the Cyrax buffs were a mistake and will be tweaked soon. Or in other words, Cyrax will not stay buffed for much longer. And this is perhaps the biggest evidence against the Sonicfox theories. Because if NetherRealm really did make these changes for Sonicfox, then why would they be reverting them at all? It just doesn't make very much sense at all. However, there is still one big issue worth addressing. NetherRealm is waiting until after Final Kombat to revert these changes. Or in other words, any pro players that wanted Cyrax to get buffed can now use this buffed Cyrax at the tournament to get an edge and possibly win the whole thing. And keep in mind that Final Kombat is one of the biggest Mortal Kombat 1 tournaments happening this year, and Cyrax is completely allowed. He's not banned. Which of course makes the whole situation look very sketchy, because if NetherRealm wanted to debunk these rumors completely, then they should have nerfed Cyrax before Final Kombat. However, instead they chose to wait, which could benefit certain pro players like Sonicfox to help them win Final Kombat, but honestly, I don't think it's that deep. Instead, I believe the coders at NetherRealm work really slow and are also terrified of breaking the game like they did when Quan Chi came out. For anyone not aware, when Quan Chi got released, there was an update that completely broke the game. It ruined the online, and you could argue it almost killed the game because a bunch of players just stopped playing at that point because the update was just that bad. And as a result, I think the NetherRealm developers are tiptoeing with every single update to the code and the programming because they don't want that to happen. And that's the real reason why they're taking their time with nerfing Cyrax. They don't want to mess anything up by rushing things and making careless mistakes. But now's the part of the video where I make things interactive. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. How do you feel about this Sonicfox drama, this Sonicfox conspiracy? Do you believe the developers made these changes to Cyrax because Sonicfox wanted them, or do you believe it's just a coincidence? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, because like I keep saying in all my videos, I truly do read each and every comment, so grab that keyboard and make your voices heard. Because next up, I wanted to share my own personal opinion on the matter. But keep in mind that this is just my opinion and nothing more. I'm not claiming to be right. In my experience, Sonicfox has never needed outside help to win Mortal Kombat tournaments. I mean, for Pete's sake, the man won multiple tournaments with Collector just because he felt like it. And keep in mind, at the time, everybody thought Collector was mediocre at best. And yet here comes Sonicfox winning tournaments with Collector against other pro players. How crazy is that? My point is, Sonicfox has never needed any extra help to win tournaments. He does that casually all on his own. So to me personally, the idea that NetherRealm buffed Cyrax to help Sonicfox just doesn't seem necessary or really make much sense. Plus, if Sonicfox really was that close with the NetherRealm staff and can get them to change the game that easily, then why not just use a DM? Why make all those tweets publicly? There's no reason to make your motives known like that if you truly are trying to rig the game in your favor. Or in other words, if Sonicfox really does have that kind of pull at NetherRealm, then he would just do the changes privately. Once again, my personal take on the matter is the whole situation is one big coincidence. But with that said, if any evidence comes forward that proves I'm wrong, then I will openly walk this opinion back and say, hey, I was wrong. Rest assured, if more evidence comes to light, then I will make sure to cover it in a future video. But for now, that's my stance on the matter. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed the video. video. If you did, please leave a like down below, it helps the channel out a ton. And then finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdog.